Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Healthcare. As you know by now, Vikings quarterback Teddy Bridgewater suffered a serious knee injury. Sports injuries are not limited to just pro athletes like Teddy. Students in sports are also at risk for all kinds of injuries. With the fall sports season in full swing, we take a close look at the most common sports injuries that pose a risk to our kids. And joining us is Urgency Room Dr. Susie Hafferman. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what are some of the most common type of sports injuries that you're seeing with kids of all ages, I guess, in the urgency room?
One of the most common categories of sports injuries we see at the urgency room are called acute traumatic injuries. These are injuries that occur suddenly with a sudden blow, collision, or a fall. Common injury patterns that we see with this type of injury include broken bones or fractures, ankle sprains, muscle strains, contusions, or bruises. The treatment for these injuries really depends upon what the specific injury is, but oftentimes splinting, ice, and rest are indicated. Another common injury pattern we see are overuse injuries. And these injuries tend to happen over time, more gradually. Examples of overuse injuries include tendinitis and stress fractures. Tendinitis we see commonly in the elbow and in the ankle, and in sports like tennis or golf where an athlete is repeatedly swinging a golf club or tennis racket.
All that practice and stuff before the actual games and meets, yeah.
Right. They're at risk for elbow tendinitis, as well as baseball players, especially pitchers, with throwing a baseball over and over. Whereas in the ankle, tendinitis is more common with sports that involve a lot of running, like cross country or track. Stress fractures are another cause of overuse injuries. These are not quite as common, but again are seen with sports that require a lot of running.
You know, it seems like with the fractures, it's kind of obvious when you see a broken bone for the most part. But some of these others, I don't know. How do you know, like, when your child should see a physician or even maybe go to the urgency room for they're complaining, their arm, their leg, their ankle is hurting them?
So the difference between a muscle strain, a joint sprain, or a fracture. In general, a muscle strain is the least severe injury. They tend to be just over the muscle area itself, and there might be some mild associated swelling. With a joint sprain, you're going to have swelling over the joint itself. You'll have more pain and tenderness over the ligaments. With a break, oftentimes the athlete will remember hearing a pop or a snap, and there'll be much more pain, swelling, and sometimes even a deformity.
You know, and you had mentioned earlier you want to put ice on some of these right away to get that swelling down, and then again, when do you take them to the doctor? I mean, will these just rest and ice and they'll be okay? Or
so if you think your child has something more than just a minor strain or sprain, or if they are continuing to complain of pain, they're not able to bear weight on a leg, those would be indications to go and seek medical treatment.
And you mentioned some of the sports where they're more likely to have some of these injuries. What would be some of the other sports that you're seeing injuries generated?
A lot of the contact sports, so hockey, football, even gymnastics where falls are common, bending and twisting is common. Those are the higher risk sports, although we see it in soccer as well. It's not really a contact sport, but kids are running and colliding, and head injuries can be common in soccer as well.
And talking about head injuries, I know that it seems like schools, coaches, parents, everyone's more aware of concussions these days. But again, what would be some advice that you would give parents and coaches, and maybe the older students too, like, you know, when they should go seek help, or what are the symptoms and signs of a concussion?
So head and neck injuries are unfortunately becoming fairly common. If you think a child has a severe head or neck injury, you should call immediately for emergency medical help. In the meantime, the athlete should not be moved because doing so can cause more harm and more damage. For kids that don't have necessarily what you think is a severe injury, they still should be seen by a medical provider to make sure there's no serious problem. Now, signs that there is a serious head or neck injury would include loss of consciousness, repetitive vomiting, numbness or tingling in the arms or the legs.
But sometimes it can linger and they can have symptoms for days, weeks, even months afterwards if they don't get rest and get out of the sport.
So concussions, they're not diagnosed based on a test. So you can't do an x-ray, you can't do a CT scan to diagnose a concussion. A concussion is diagnosed based on the history of head trauma and the symptoms that a child is having. Obviously, if you hit your head, you have a headache. But if that headache is persisting for more than a short period of time or more than just that night, then it needs to be checked out.
And again, you want to, which is the hardest thing, I know, when my kids were younger too, taking them out of the play, resting, and they all want to get back and get on the field or on the court or whatever.
Right. You don't want to put them at risk for a second brain injury. The trauma can be much worse if you go back to play with a concussion, and we don't want to put young brains at that type of risk. It's just not worth it. So they really should be sitting out until they have no symptoms, meaning no headache, no dizziness, or no symptoms at all of the concussion.
And at this time of the year with the fall sports, is that when you're seeing an increase coming off of the summer? They're getting back into practices and
Most definitely. Most definitely with the practices and the games, especially football right now, we see a lot of concussions.
Even with it seems like our equipment there's more safety and equipment protecting them, but because they're bigger, stronger, maybe, is that why we're seeing more of these?
They are. Kids, they're hitting the weight room. They want to be the biggest. They want to be the best. So, they're moving pretty quick out there. With the concussion, we also want to be careful that kids tell their parents when they have an injury. Encourage your kids to let you know if they're hurting. We don't want them to go back out injured.
Yeah.
There is more awareness now with concussions. Many schools and athletic associations make the kids do a concussion test before they start that activity for the year. They have a baseline test, and if there is an injury, they can tell if the child is ready to resume play or not.
Yeah, that's good that they're doing that these days. And I don't know if we think as much as soccer also can lend itself to a number of injuries that you had mentioned, from sprains to the head injuries and stuff.
We do. We see some bad injuries with soccer. There's a lot of running involved, so they're at risk for those overuse injuries, but also colliding into one another. They do a lot of hitting the ball off of their head, which can have repetitive trauma consequences, and then also the breaks and sprains and dislocations.
And this isn't just boys, this is girls as well.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We have girls hockey now. We see equal number of athletes that are both male and female.
So what would be some other advice and tips that you would give parents if their child is participating in sports?
Use your common sense. I know that you want your child to be out there enjoying themselves and being the star. But if they're playing injured, they're probably going to set themselves back if they don't take the time to rest. So really encourage your child to take the time needed to recover from an injury.
And for our viewers who may not be familiar with the urgency room, why don't you tell us about what is the urgency room and why should they bring their child to the urgency room?
So the urgency room is owned and operated by board-certified ER doctors. We're open conveniently every day of the year from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. We have 3 locations, Vadnais Heights, Woodbury, and Eagan. And we have x-rays, CTs, ultrasound, lab, a lot of high-tech equipment to help diagnose and treat whatever condition you might present with.
And insurance is accepted? Or all of it?
Most insurances are accepted.
Anything else that they should know about the urgency room or how they can get more information about it?
We do have a website, so you can go online to theurgencyroom.com and take a look at us there.
Final advice for our parents and coaches, and what else should they know, Doctor?
If you think your child has something more than just a minor sprain or strain, they should be checked out by a medical provider to make sure there's no serious injury that can cause lasting damage.
We want them to have a safe, fun fall sports and not be injury-free as well. Then,
Yes.
yeah. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Great
you for having
advice.
me.
Yeah, thank you. Well, still ahead, a local woman lost more than 65 pounds, and how she's kept it off. We'll find out her secrets. But up next, inspiring story about some young people and how they've overcome incredible odds. Stay with us. Students are back in school, but for some local students, when they leave school at the end of the day, they have no place to call home. They're among the 4,000 teens and young people who are homeless in Minnesota. We met a couple of these young people who have turned their lives around thanks to a local nonprofit organization. Here is their story.
And we didn't have nowhere to go.
It was really hard, like, you know, being pregnant.
It was very welcoming. There was no judgment. I'm Cassie, and I have a 3-year-old son. He likes these big, chunky dictionary-type books, and he's just magical.
Bonk! Bonk!
So I was young. I was a super senior in high school. My boyfriend, husband at the time, he was in his 2nd year of college. It was just super crazy. We were young, dumb, and stupid, and it just got to be so overwhelming to find out that you're pregnant and it's unexpected. And I had a lot of push and pull with people around me, and I felt really aloof.
What have I done? So she was young, she didn't know what she wanted to do, she didn't know if she wanted to parent, and it's just been a joy to walk her journey with her because she's actually a fabulous parent.
So it was affordable, it was convenient, it was in my age range, it was here. It was an option, the only option.
Over 4,000 young people per night homeless on the streets in Minnesota, and it's pretty sad. So we need as much help as we can from the community.
And we didn't have nowhere to go, and I didn't have nowhere to sleep or had no clothes at the time, no good clothes or nothing. So somebody had gave us a resource to come down here to Safe Zone, and ever since I came down here, it's been helping me out.
Whole goal is to end homelessness for young people. So when we have them come here and set up their goals, it's all around education, employment, housing, and health.
Currently in college now. Helped me with CNA classes, Certified Nursing Assistant, and I'm still working in the medical field now. I have goals, I have plans, I plan on buying property, I plan on having stocks and bonds, I plan on having a lot of things, and it's gonna happen.
And you see their resilience, all the obstacles and barriers that they have to overcome, and you can just see them flourish as they receive some of the resources that we do have here.
Not judgmental at all. That's one thing about them I like.
Even a staff took me to go take my license test. Like, there's staff that's really willing to go that extra mile for you to achieve all your goals that you want to achieve.
Really hard. I don't want to start crying because I might. It was really hard, like, being pregnant, and it's kind of hard dealing with that, being by myself in a shelter pregnant.
She was feeling like very alone, and even in the transitional housing, she was feeling like it was very overwhelming being a single parent. We referred her to our mental health therapist, Frankie, and at that point, she was on a track to make life better for herself and for her baby.
I work at Jimmy John's now, and I like it. Really trying to get off the county assistance, and it's very important because the county is not gonna make ends meet all your life, so you have to have some other income, and I think it's important to me because I like to shop, and I like to buy my own things, with my own money. I don't have to worry about county money, This is my money, so very important, especially if you want to take care of your child and stuff like that.
There aren't a ton of clinics that have a ton of money for working with young men, especially on healthcare. And to be blunt, it takes two to tango. And so young men need as much pregnancy prevention, STI prevention education as young women. So that's my role, and that's the special role of It's All About You at Face to Face.
Just tell people, just don't give up. Like, it is hard and it's difficult, especially being a single mom. It is hard and difficult, but you have to get a mentality like, I can do this, and you have a child to raise. You can't just give up on your child.
I matured so much throughout the years. It's like crazy. Like, I like the person that I'm becoming.
I married the man that I got pregnant with. We have a happy, lovely little family now because of you guys, really.
Like I said, they saved me, and I really thank them for that, and I will never forget that.
Do it one more time. Ready? I'll give you a cue.
For more information about face-to-face health and counseling located in St. Paul, call 651-772-5555. And for more information about the Safe Zone Drop-In Center for Homeless Youth, which is located in downtown St. Paul, call 651-224-9644. Still ahead, one local woman shares her secret to losing weight and keeping it off. Stay with us.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
So you were just telling me you've lost more than 60. You've lost almost 70?
Yes.
70 pounds. So, and you did this all this year?
Yes.
Why don't you kind of tell us, how did you get started? I think that's the hardest thing for people on any weight loss program. And how do you keep going? And
It got started because my husband made me go to the doctor. It was a year ago. From the car accident, I've had many different things that have come up, and I got tinnitus, and so I had really, really bad ringing in the ear, wasn't sleeping at night, and that's when it prompted me. He encouraged me to go back in and get tested. And so my doctor's so thorough, and she did CAT scan, MRI, and before could even call me back with the results, said you need to come in because you have diabetes now and you have high blood pressure.
Oh my gosh,
and
on
so
top of everything.
That's what triggered it, and she's so thorough, and had said that she had been working on this program and it hadn't launched yet, but I could be the first to join. And I'm like, absolutely. And that's when I took that first step. And so we didn't even do it the traditional way they do it now, but her and I just worked on one-on-one and brought a nutritionist in later and started working on the program and my diet and with the weight loss.
how much difference did that make having the doctor
100%.
work with you on this versus just going to a program or a clinic, a gym or something like that?
Well, and I went in with the idea, I'm going to join a gym. And she said, don't. Just because of your brain injury and your back injury, let's start with this. Let's get you on the nutrition piece, get your sugar levels down, get your blood pressure regulated, and start with the diet portion. And there were so many tools involved with it and people. She brought a nutritionist in, said, I don't want you to start working out until you lose 10%. Meet with me monthly and we're going to monitor you. And so we use a website, loseit.com, work with email. I email the nutritionist still weekly sometimes. If I struggle or I have questions or there's things I need to change on the diet, they help with that aspect. But it's her, it's the support, it's the vitamins, it's the meds, it's everything, them watching all your blood, your sugar, all your levels to help you stay on track.
So this program is at the Healthy Stillwater Clinic, and unlike typically when you go see the doctor, they might say, oh, you should lose a couple of pounds, that's it, and you're on your own. But she was with you every step of the way?
Every step, and even now monitoring, knowing when to take me off certain meds. I take metformin, and our goal is that I won't have to be on those meds long term. And that's why I go in monthly and checking not just the blood pressure, but I get all my levels and my blood work tested as well. And then now that I'm working with a trainer, we also work on the nutrition piece too. If I'm struggling, which I have been lately, I'll honestly say, you do get to that.
That's typical.
It is, and it is. And you have to switch up, your carbs and what you're going to take, and they all work together. So the big difference is it's a team. It's a team that all communicates. They all are on the same page and they all have the same information and they work with me, whether it's in Woodbury or at the Stillwater location.
And I think you had told me in the past you had tried some other weight loss programs. So what were some of the things that you learned that worked for you that maybe might work for some of our viewers?
The big difference, the big difference I think with any program is you get bored. And you can stick with a program for so long, but when you don't have the follow-up and the accountability and the support that you get from a doctor and from a team, and working with the trainer is really what kept me motivated and helped change. I haven't lost as many pounds as I've lost inches. We just measured last week and I lost probably like 35 inches.
Wow,
so that's
amazing.
amazing.
Is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And would you have thought you'd be at this point in January?
No.
When you first started?
Not at all. Not at all. No, it's been amazing. And that's what really has kept me excited and going, because the Ways to Wellness program has more than just a trainer. They have classes, they've incorporated selling, vitamins, nutritional aids, their cookbooks. They really try to always change it up to help you, and keep you excited about going.
So if someone's out there watching and they're saying, I just can't lose this weight, I can't even get started, what would you tell them?
And it sounds so stupid and simple, go to your doctor. Go to your doctor. I've referred my doctor to about a half a dozen people in the last month. And don't be intimidated by a trainer and doing one-on-one. The Ways to Wellness program is open to the public and for everyone.
And if you are interested, we have a phone number that you can call. That number is 651-471-5622. Again, 651-471-5622. And that's the number for the Healthy Stillwater Clinic weight loss program. It's been working great for you, and you would recommend it for others as well?
I would, absolutely.
Well, Amy, Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story. It's an
My
amazing
pleasure.
story, very incredible. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us again here on Inside Healthcare next month. We'll see you then, everyone.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do. Yeah, but I don't know where to start.
That's why we're here. We're free, handsome,
I think we're breathtaking.
and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that brand?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
9 out of 10 of us say we want to die at home. But for a third of us, this is the last place we'll see. If you had just months to live, where would you want to be? Willie wanted to enjoy her great-great-great-grandchildren. She chose hospice. See what's possible at momentsoflife.org.